19, Psalm 19, and we are going to talk about um, some of the best advice that you could ever give anybody. And what helps us the most with seeing God is to just look up. All right? A few minutes ago, we were looking out the window at the sunset. And, you know, the thing about sunsets is as long as it's not super cloudy and rainy, you can see one every day, right? And in the mornings when it's pretty clear, you can see the sun rise. You know, we have light that comes in our bedroom window early in the morning, and we've got blinds up, but there's a dot of sunlight in the same spot right there beside my head every day. All right, and normally I get up before the sun comes up, but if I'm still in the bed and the sun comes up, it's like somebody has got a flashlight in the bedroom, and it's like, what in the world is this? What is this like? Well, a lot of times when we see things in nature, we don't consider the biblical ramifications about what we're seeing. We don't understand that really everything that we see is something that God made, and in the Garden of Eden, God made all of these things back in the beginning, even before the garden. He made all of these things, and then he made us, and he looked at it all, and he said, that's good. It's all good. God was looking at the same things that we look at. The same sunsets, the same sunrise, the same planets, the flowers, all of the things of nature, the creatures, the animals, the little ants, all following a line, and they ain't even got a road. It's amazing, right? They all reflect God's order. It's not chaos. It's order. Everything is predictable. It's constant. It's reliable. And as sure as the amount of minutes in a day, the sun comes up and the sun goes down, and we have seasons where some things change, some things are reborn, some things fade away and go dormant. But David's talking about it right here in Psalm 19. Verse 1 says, the heavens declare the glory of God. The skies proclaim the work of his hands. Day after day they pour forth speech. Night after night they reveal knowledge. They have no speech. They use no words. No sound is heard from them. Yet their voice goes out into all the earth. Their words to the end of the world. In the heavens, God has pitched a tent for the sun. So I think that David here is talking about nature. And as humans, we are programmed or wired to chase after beautiful things, attractive things, okay? I mean, from a very young age, well, from a very middle age, not middle age, when you become about a teenager, you start caring about how you look more and more, okay? Because when you were little, you didn't. You just never even wanted to bathe or, you know, get in the tub or anything like that. You didn't care what you wore. You didn't care what clothes you had on, whether they matched. You didn't even understand what matching was, right? She was dressed up like Punky Brewster. Y'all remember her? Yeah. Or Adriana, one of the other. She is low-key Punky Brewster. Look her up. Anyway, she's cool. When we get older, we start thinking about how things look. And we start spending money on trying to look younger, prettier, more attractive, because we understand, we know in our hearts that things that look good attract what we want. And the reason we know that is because God made us that way. So that when we saw the things of beauty, I'm going to tell you something. One of the most attractive things to me right now in my life is when I'm done cutting the grass and I look at the lines in the yard. I feel like that is so attractive to me. I am very happy about it. The yard looks nice, and I know it's not going to last, but that's okay because in that moment it gives me a certain sense of satisfaction. And I'm like, look at the beauty of this. Look at it. It's just amazing. And the hedges are all trimmed, and it looks nice. And I feel like, all right, that's a beautiful thing. That's a beautiful thing. And then after about 3 or 4 days, it starts getting on my nerves again because, it's sprouted up some more. And some parts grow more than others. But I've learned that they make a grass now that only grows about 2 inches tall. And the rest of it grows under the dirt. And I'm like, well, where can I get all of that, right? That sounds like a good thing to have. But, then you'd have to dig up your yard and fight weeds from then on so that they wouldn't interfere with your beautiful, attractive grass, right? I know that when we go on vacation most of the time, we go either to the mountains or the beach. And there's something about being in the mountains that it's just beautiful, and it's very attractive, and it makes our soul feel good to see those things of nature and of beauty. When you go to the beach and you feel the sand in between your toes, and you just see the vastness of the water and the waves, the sounds, and the smell of the salt water, it's like creation is ministering to you. And nowadays, in springtime, we see flowers, and the flowers it's not all good for everybody. It's not all roses for everybody if you're allergic, and, it just makes your head explode. But when you see those things, they are just so beautiful. I think one of the prettiest things are dogwood trees, and when they get to blooming out, dogwood trees have been like the one thing in nature that always reminded me of Christ. I don't think that that's the tree Jesus was crucified on. I think it was acacia wood. But anyway, when I was growing up, my grandparents told me that a dogwood tree was what Jesus was crucified on. And I always knew that, I always thought about that, and they said that the blooms indicated the blood of Christ. And it was a story that they had associated with the dogwood tree, and it always made me think about Jesus. Even before I fully understood who Jesus was, I knew something about that tree. And when it bloomed out, it was always around Easter time, and that was the way that, as I was a child, I was told that was how we knew when Easter was coming, because the dogwood trees would bloom. And that was fine, because that beauty in nature, that changing of the season, would bring about some attention to the things that are beautiful. They are attractive. Our bodies crave nature. When you go outside, your body soaks up vitamin D from the sun, right? And when you are out there, it improves your mood. It's like that fresh air is bringing life into your body, and it just makes you feel good to be in nature. That's why a lot of people like to go on hikes and stuff. That's walking on purpose out in the woods. Okay? Hiking. It's an activity that a lot of people enjoy. And they even make hiking boots, hiking sticks so that you don't fall over, and just all kinds of stuff for walking. And the reason why is that it makes you feel good to be out there in nature. Listen, I was reading this paper published by the Journal of Environmental Psychology. All right, it's written by psychologists, and they said that it was a phenomena that they cannot measure, but they found that sunrises and sunsets trigger significant boosts in people's feelings of awe. So basically, one of the things that creates a boost in our soul, in our psyche, our mood, our emotions, it's that sense of awe. When you see something, you go, "Oh." You know, it's just, it makes you feel good. And God made that because God is awesome, right? And when you see those things, you get that sense of awe, and like looking at the mountains or looking at the beach or seeing a sunset or seeing the sunrise or when it's kind of a cool day, but you feel the rays of the sun, the warmth coming through the window, and it's like, ooh, that is neat that this burning ball of gas millions of miles away, I can feel it, you know. That creates that sense of awe. And God gave us that ability to be able to experience all of those things for really one reason. And that was just to see him, to recognize him. Do you realize that before you started pursuing God, God was pursuing you by making things beautiful, giving you something that you wanted to look at, that you craved. He created all of these things before he ever created you. He got everything ready and beautiful and set just like he wanted it, and he said it's good, so that you could just look around, look up, look out, and see him. You can see him in all things, right? When I was a kid, one of the things that I liked to see the most was when our dog would have a litter of puppies. And these puppies looked like little rats, you know. They didn't have much hair on them. Their eyes were shut, and we couldn't wait for their eyes to open. Woo, we can't pick them up yet. Their eyes ain't open. If you pick them up too soon, the mama ain't gonna want them. You know, all these rules we had but boy, we just loved to see when them babies came. And it was the most beautiful thing. Not so much the cat litter, but, you know, cat litter still is not a good thing to look at. Amen? But anyway, the litter of puppies was just, it was amazing. And then all of a sudden, I mean, they all look like that little plastic dog that has that bobblehead, you know? And then when they get a little older, they become little puppies running around. And all that yapping, and they all have the same smell, no matter where they're from or what kind of puppies they are. They smell like puppies, you know, like puppy lick. And it's I can smell it right. I can smell it. It's a memory that I got. And God made that to give us a sense of awe. And like when you see a litter of puppies, what do you say? Aw, right? It's a wonderful thing. And God has given us all of these things to look at, and something might have tickled your fancy different than what tickled mine. I liked the puppies when I was little. I liked to go outside and look at the different birds, and sometimes you would see birds of various colors, and I saw whatever color it was, and it was fun, and it was a thing they call bird watching, you know? And I'm like, well, they named that just right because I'm watching that bird. And I'm just looking at it. And they will be outside the window, and we got some that live in a bush. They got a nest that they made, and those cats of hers love that bird nest. They like to look out the window at it, and I'll see them when they get all into it, you know. And I'm like, that bird must be out there. And I'll look, and I'm like, yep, there goes that bird. And them cats is like, oh, I'm going to get it. I'm going to get it. And it creates a sense of awe. I'm like, oh, you stupid thing. You can't get out there. It's beautiful. It's a beautiful thing to see nature like that. And I'm like, this little thing is just building a house. Just going around getting sticks and then spitting on them and just making it like they want it, and it's cool. And we got them little, what do you call them, chimney sweeps or swifts or something like that? Is them birds that look like a V like that, like gang signs when they fly. Every corner under the house, they make nests. I put Coke bottles up, wedges of wood, all kinds of stuff to keep them from making nests, because they also make a mess wherever they're at, and that's pretty awful, right? And one year they just made one on the side of the house, just because they spit mud or something, or they go get some mud and spackle it. You know, it's like a adobo kind of thing. And maybe they're natives or something. I don't know. But anyway, they made one just on the side of the wall. And I was like, how did you get that to stick? And then the babies are born. Uh-oh. Them baby birds are, them some special looking creatures, ain't they? Yeah, those bobbleheads stick up. I'll go out there and try to whistle at them. I can't even whistle no more. Sir? Yes, I can. It's all inspiring, isn't it? But you can whistle a little bit, and them heads will pop out, and boy, that excites me. I'm like, look at them, look at them. They're so dumb. They just think I'm gonna feed them a worm with my mouth. That ain't gonna happen. But they will. They'll just pop out. And it's a beautiful thing. Anytime you see something of beauty in nature, when you see a deer crossing the road and you don't hit it, that's a great day, right? When we see all of these things, it improves our mood, it enhances our social abilities. If you are ever in the Smoky Mountains during the July the 4th week, you are not there alone, okay? And all of you are looking at the same thing. You're riding through Cades Cove, or you're riding up in the mountains, and everybody's pulling over at the pullover spot, and you're all looking at the same valley. Yeah, you are. All of a sudden, you got something in common with all these people around you. That's why God made stuff look so good. It attracts people to nature. And it's attracting people to His glory. And that's why God made it worth looking at. That's why God made it beautiful. I mean, you could even take something like New York City, and from a long way away, it looks pretty cool. Maybe not so much in the middle of it, but when you're a long way away, the skyline and all that, that's pretty neat. I even like to ride on 65 up in Birmingham when it's dark. They'll have lights on the buildings and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, look at there. That looks almost like a city kind of thing. And that's pretty cool. And everybody that's riding by me right now is thinking the same thing probably. Maybe not. I don't know. But when the Regis building's got a Christmas tree on it, that's pretty cool. And like, look at that. As a Christian, we know that all that we experience, the colorful displays of the sunset and all of these things are a sign of what God can do. God's craftsmanship. God made every single bit of it. From the baby puppies all the way up to the sun burning millions of miles away. God made all of it. You go outside at night and it's a clear night and you look up and you see dots everywhere. These are stars. These are burning balls of gas and galaxies all around in our universe, and you can see them with your eyes. And God put each one of them right where they are, and He has sustained them since the beginning of time. And when you look up at those stars, we have names for groups of stars, and you can follow those stars and get your sense of direction if you know what you're looking at. And it's so awe-inspiring I remember as a kid, we used to lay on the trampoline, and by the time you got done looking at the stars, we'd be on there with binoculars. Like, you can see it a little better. You could see the moon a little better with binoculars, but you couldn't see the planets. You were just looking around saying you could, because we're all liars. And it was pretty neat. But anyway, we'd lay on that trampoline until the dew was on us, and we'd go inside and we're like, why am I wet? You know? But we've been out there for hours just looking at the stars, just looking, and try to count them. You ever tried to count the stars? It's hard to keep your place, you know, because you're like, oh, I didn't count it that one. No, they all look alike. Urgh! I got to start over. And then you go all the way to the horizon and you start counting, and you never make it to the other side because you lose your place, right? And it is so big that it creates a sense of awe. And then by the time you go inside, You're not worried that mom and daddy's telling you it's time to get in the tub, right? You're like, all right, I'll bathe today. And you get in the tub, you take a bath, and there's warm water coming out of the walls. What? And it feels good. It's like, this is comfortable. I'm laying in the perfect temperature water. What? Mood's improved, right? And then they're like, you got to do your homework. Did you do your homework yet? I don't want to do my homework. There's nothing good about homework. Homework does not inspire awe in me. So you don't want to do it. They should make the papers more colorful. But anyway, I think that the beauty of the world is, and God made it so awe-inspiring, is because he's chasing after us. God is trying his best to get your attention with everything that we look at, everything that we see. I think that God is present in the nature, in the natural world. He's there in creation simply because it's his. He made every single bit of it. And he made it such a way that you actually want to look at it. And because of him, you can actually comprehend the pleasure that he took in making all of these things, crafting all of these things, making every little plant different and all the insects different. Everything has a purpose or a function, and everything works together in what Simba called the circle of life. And it's just a wonderful thing to look at and to see and to recognize all of these things. And God is chasing after you with all of nature. If we would just see him in it, you will see God everywhere. On the days that you can't see the sun or the sunrise, he makes water fall from the sky. You hear me? One of the weirdest things ever. He has made clouds that form out of the sun rays hitting the water, and the water turns into a vapor. And then it goes up and gets together with other drops, and they're all like, hey, we're a cloud, you know? And they float around, and they get to where you are, and then all of a sudden, they just drop. And they're everywhere. Sometimes they're big old fat drops. Sometimes it's a mist. You know, we call it sprinkles. And it's amazing that he makes water fall from the sky like that. It's wild. Right now up in the Northeast, they're having a blizzard right now. And that is frozen precipitation. Snowflakes. And all the snowflakes, presumably, are different from one another. Like they're all unique because it's moisture that has not only turned from a vapor to a solid, but it has frozen and what do they call it, like refracted or fractal or something. I remember Frozen was singing about it. Y'all remember that? Frozen fractals all around. We need a Frozen 3 pronto. We forget. Okay. Y'all singing Frozen in your head now, ain't you? All right. The truth is, when we get to looking for God, we find that he's already present. He's always been there. In everything that you see. There's not new stuff. It's always been. He has made it, and he considered it good. And God's glory is on display for all of us to see. Every single one of us can see it. But it's up to us to see creation for what it is. It's up to you to look for God. And when you look at anything in all of creation, and you're looking for God in it, he's not hard to find. I promise you this. I think that seeing creation for what it is, it's an invitation into the bigger story that God is writing. God is writing a story in which humans are chasing the beauty in the world, going on vacation, going to Disney World, and my favorite part of the whole day because at the end of the day, they would shoot fireworks off. And we're all standing there and looking at fireworks. I remember the first time we took Maggie. She was about 7 years old, and the fireworks were going off, and I was holding her hand, and she looked up at me, and she said, Daddy, thank you so much for bringing me here. And I just stood there and cried. What? It's so wonderful. It's so wonderful. I want to bring her back 2 times a year from now on. She never said that again. But in that moment, it was awe-inspiring. And every time I see fireworks, I think of that moment. And now I think about God, because God has given us the ability to see those beautiful things. We can smell things, and it brings back memories like puppy licks, right? It is amazing how God created our senses, and we can experience so much more of God than than we're used to. A lot of times I don't know about y'all, but a lot of times I have my mind on other things. And when I see cloudy days, I'm not thinking about how God has created clouds. I'm not seeing the awe-inspiring beauty of making waterfall and watering all the plants so that you don't have to. Boy, when I'm looking for God, I can't get away from it. He is telling the story of all of creation and His glory, His beauty, and your place in it. And that if you look around, He has provided for the birds and the flowers, and He has provided for you. He has given everything around you beauty. And as pretty as we try to make ourselves, y'all know there's a generation growing up today that they have never been without eyelashes. You know that? Eyelashes. Yeah. There's ladies now, they won't even have a home, but they got eyelashes. You know what I'm saying? It's amazing at the beauty that people are searching for. But the beauty that God has created is awe-inspiring and all around us. We try our best to put on a beautiful thing, to put on our best clothes and our makeup. We get our hair cut and things like that because we're trying to be attractive. Well, God has made the whole world attractive. And what He's really trying to do in creation is attract all of us to His power. Nobody else has created things in the world. God created all things. You might have built something or put something together or polished something or painted something, but God created. And it's beautiful. From now on, understand that God is pursuing you by making everything around you attractive. He's calling you. He wants you to see Him in everything so that you know how good He is. God is a good, good Father. He has taken care of us. He has blessed us. He has spoiled us. That most of the time we don't even notice. Look around. See God. He's in everything. Let's pray. Our Father, we are very thankful that You have made all things beautiful. God, it seems like some days I'm just looking at the things that are not beautiful, focusing on the negative. There is so much beauty around us, God. We can just live in Your glory all day, every day, if we would just pursue You. God, please help us. Please just put it on our hearts and help us to remember these words that Your beauty is all around. It's like we don't even have to look for it. You're everywhere. God, thank You for loving us like that. Thank You for being so attractive. Lord, I know that